Victims of narcissistic abuse often feel like they have failed because they were unable to fix their abuser or keep their family together. Can you relate? In this video, I'm going to give you 3 ways to overcome these feelings of failure. You may believe that you're responsible for the abuse or that you could have prevented it if you had just done something differently. But in reality, victims of narcissistic abuse have no control over their abuser's actions. The only thing you do have control over is yourself, your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own behaviors. Almost all of my clients have been through similar situations and have felt the exact same way. It's not your fault that you were abused, and you couldn't have prevented it. You're not responsible for your abuser's behavior. You cannot make them change. So here's the 3 ways. Number 1, you want to educate yourself about narcissistic abuse. Gain knowledge of abuse tactics, trauma bonds, and cognitive dissonance. You can learn just about everything you need to know in my recovery course called the Trauma Bond Recovery Course. Understanding the dynamics of narcissism, abuse, and how it affects relationships can really help you recognize that the abuse is not your fault. You also may find it helpful to read books or articles written by experts in the field. 2 of my favorite books and the best books that I think are Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft and Should I Stay or Should I Go by Dr. Ramani. The more you really know and start to educate yourself about abuse, the more you can distance yourself from the shame and blame that generally accompany it. Number 2, you can seek support from other victims of narcissistic abuse. We often feel isolated and alone, so seeking support from others who've actually been through it or been through similar experiences, it can really help you overcome the feelings of failure. Support groups, coaching, therapy, these can all be a safe place for you to express your emotions, receive validation, and empathy. And honestly, you'd be really surprised how much validation helps. Number 3, you practice self-care. Victims of narcissistic abuse are often groomed to neglect their own needs and feelings to focus on their abuser's needs. So practicing self-care can help you shift your focus back to yourself and your own well-being. Self-care doesn't have to be bubble baths and manicures, right? They can be learning self-love, setting boundaries. By prioritizing your own needs, you can regain a sense of control and self-worth. You didn't cause the abuse. You couldn't have prevented it. Abuse is a choice, and your partner chose to be abusive. Exiting an abusive relationship is choosing yourself, and that is a good thing. Overcoming feelings of failure takes time, but with education, with support, self-care, you can really regain your sense of self-worth and move forward towards healing. And that's the goal, right?
Stronger.